Fantastic. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Global Expansion Team Zoom. We have RiCchiuti here tonight to talk to. He's one of the top enrollers on the Grow to Cashflow promotion. We're going to pick his brain, learn a little bit about him, and hear what he's doing to enroll new people. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, maybe he's a brand new associate, and a lot of us sponsor a lot of people when we first get in because we haven't talked to anybody about this yet. Well, Marco's been in a while, so that's not his situation. So I'm really excited to hear what Marco has to share with us. So Marco, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. You live in New York, right? You were just in Italy and you were just doing a team call in Spanish. So I know you've got a global business. Tell us just a little bit about yourself. How did you find out about ASEA, and why, as a young man like you that could be doing anything, why are you building an ASEA business?
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little bit about me. I'm 27 years old right now. I've been part of ASEA for 11 years, I think, something like that. That's crazy to me that I'm even saying that. I was just in Italy for the past month and a half in August. I was loving it there. And I have pretty much a global team. It's been just a pleasure to kind of get to interact and learn and help people all across the world. I do ASEA, and I also am a real estate agent. I love real estate. It's just something that I have a passion for and just excited about. So I've been doing that for the past 3 years now. So that's been incredible as well. And I got introduced to ASEA, like I said, 11 years ago, and it was actually from my father. My father was going through some health challenges, and he changed his life very drastically with alternative things and eating correctly and a whole bunch of different things because he had to do it. And he found out about this technology and this product. And at that point in time, he was just like, hey, take this. If you have to, let's say plug your nose. I was like, okay. So I took it and I didn't have to plug my nose. I was like, it's fine, whatever. He's like, all right, good. Keep taking it. So long story short, I found out from him. And then back then it was just, it was so long ago. It's crazy to say it, but I learned a lot. I took probably the first 3 or 4 years of my time with ASEA just being a sponge, literally speaking with people, speaking with, diamonds, everybody. It was fortunate enough to go on several of the trips and have that one-on-one time. So it was very nice to do that and took in a lot of information. Then I kind of kickstarted my business in college. When I went to college, and I said to myself, you know what, I really want to do this as a business, and I want to be able to have an income coming in where I can, take a vacation and go do what I want, or at least choose the job that I want to do, right? So that's kind of where I ended up, and here I am now, and 11 years later, and I get to choose something that I love to do, which is real estate, and be able to have a passive income business where I could go to Italy for a month and a half and enjoy life and not have to worry about, I just bought a home last year and have to worry about the expenses, so just, it's just been an incredible journey. So thus far.
Fantastic. So now I know a lot of people are building their business with podcasts, and they're doing, all kinds of social media. They're doing, all kinds of creative ways, to get their name out there, build their brand, and get to know people beyond their own geography. Are you leveraging the computer, the internet, social media to build your business, or are you pretty much doing it the old-fashioned way, talking to people one-on-one, or how are you building your business right now?
Yeah, so it's a great question. It's sort of a mix, but I would say like 75% is online, 25% is old-fashioned, right? Because you can't get rid of that. It's all about people, right? But definitely through social media. Biggest channel that I utilize is LinkedIn. I feel like it's the most underused by a lot of people, but it's a huge network, and there's people on there who are looking for stuff. So it's something that I leverage a lot, and it's helped bring me way more globally than I thought I would ever be. And interestingly enough, I've built a lot of kind of relationships through it, and I've learned the verbiage. I've learned, when it's enough, when it's not enough, having conversations with people, just connecting with them. And I think overall, what it's allowed me to do is, like you had mentioned, reach people where I normally wouldn't have those interactions. And that's what's basically allowed me to get to where I am and how I communicate more people. And, just even like last year being, having conversations with people on LinkedIn, I was able to expand my network into Asia. And now I have a team growing in Asia. So luck, is it luck, or is it just communicating more? I think it's, in my opinion, you have to be able to expand your network in some sort of way. And so the only way I thought of that is social media,
Excellent. So now, do you have a bunch of 27-year-olds in that category on your team, or do you have the whole gamut from, the older people to the people maybe even be younger than you are?
I would say I have the whole gambit, but I would say I've been more focused on trying to get more people who are in my age bracket, just because I'm thinking long term of the potential that can take forth in the next, not just 10 years, but in the next 30 years. And I could see the longevity of how one person who's right now in their 20s will translate into, 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond, and that network will grow. So it's definitely a whole bunch of people, but yeah, that's definitely a focus. And the people who currently right now who are building and doing stuff, I would say about 75% are around my age.
And why now? Why are these people attracted to ASEA? What are you saying to them, and why are they like, wow, I'd like to know more about that? Is it because they have a health problem, or is it more because they want a flexible lifestyle?
That's it. You hit the nail on the head. It's a flexible lifestyle. So one of the biggest things for me is, if anybody ever follows me on social media, they know I'm an avid traveler. It's just what I love. It's how I live my life. It's just something that's embodies me. So I try to translate what I do with my, myself, and I try to translate that through a message and have them understand, listen, it's attainable. You can do it if that's something that you want to do. And one of my, the people who was one of my core associates that I work with, he's my age, and that's exactly what he wants to do too. And it just clicked, and he was like, why haven't I thought of doing something like this before? Like, it just makes sense. Like, I could be working, but I could also do this, and it'll lead to a part where I'm like, okay, I can leave my work and now focus on this. So yeah, I would say that particularly the way of approaching is definitely not so much geared towards health. Some people it is, but not so much. I would just say I meet people where they're at. Some people want to be customers. Some people want to be business people. I don't force somebody to be a business person just to be a business person and get them in the system as an associate. It's not just who I am. I'm a carefree, you do what you feel is best for you type of person. And that's just the way I roll.
Excellent. So this Grow and Cashflow promotion that's on right now is rewarding people with cash for enrolling customers or associates over the next little bit of time frame. And you're one of the top people listed on, on that list. So when you're reaching out to people, so where are you meeting these people? Are they mostly on LinkedIn, or these people that you sponsored recently, or did they come in mostly as customers or as associates, or what's the mix of the people you brought in so far during the promotion?
Yeah, so majority, I would say 70% of them were more so customers, 30% were associates, and then some of them were in the pipeline that I had spoken to, but majority of them were newer, and they were customers, more so customers, which is fine. Customers are great, you
That's
know?
really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I would say, I'm doing my best to try to keep up at the first, but we got a couple of people who are very competitive in this race. And you know what? It's good because it keeps me competitive as well.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of people and they're using all kinds of different strategies to, get in front of people and get the message in front of people and then let the people make whatever decision is right for them. But that's the whole key, right? You have to get in front of new people one way or another. So how much time do you spend in front of your computer every day?
It's a great question. Spend quite a bit of time. Because I'm in real estate, I also do that pretty frequently. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I'm always on my computer or on my phone. I would probably say, at least 8 hours, at least. But that's it's a mix, you get once you get into a flow, it becomes a little bit easier, but some days are longer than others. Some days I just got to get up and I got to go for a walk and recharge, So,
yeah, absolutely. So, if people are on the webinar tonight or listening to this online and they're not finding people that they can get in front of, what would your advice to them be? How would you say, look, there's tons of people out there and you just have to weed through the people because it is a numbers game. I mean, you don't treat people like numbers, but you do have to go through people to find the people that are interested in what you have, either from a customer standpoint or from a business standpoint, right? So what would your advice to people that are having trouble getting in front of people, maybe because of COVID, maybe because of, they're not really comfortable on social media or they're not consistent on social media? What would your advice be to people like that?
So I'm going to tell you guys, like I said to my associate 2 days ago, the exact same thing, because they asked this exact same question. First, there's billions of people online and you have the ability at your fingertip to make a message and send a message. But before you do that, you need to set your account up for success. It needs to be successful. People need to see that you are successful. They need to see in front of them, wow, this is somebody that I can have a conversation with, right? So that's number one, and I'll talk just a little bit about that in a second. But the other thing is there are, I'm sure most people are on Facebook nowadays. There are tons of networking groups, not on Facebook necessarily, but I'm talking about events, networking events. And there's an events tab in your Facebook app. You can Google networking in my area. You can go to these networking events and there's people right there that are looking to network and refer and do stuff like that. So those are the two ways that you can do this, and literally have people who are looking for things. So that's what I would say. If you want to be in person and you prefer in person and having conversations with people, definitely go on events in your Facebook and look up networking events, right? So that's number one. And then the other part that I had mentioned about social media. So having a profile set up accordingly to give you success in your business is so pivotal. Having a great photo of you, your face, not sitting on a couch and relaxing, not like this, or like straight headshot. It's important because people want to see you and a good smile. People are attracted to people who smile a lot. So these are little things, but they go a long way because they represent who you are. You don't want to be representing yourself as somebody who's sitting on the couch like this in your photo, right? So that's like number one key to everything that I do. You'll see if you go on my Facebook, or I have my headshot that I spent money. You have to invest in yourself, right? Spent money on to make sure that I look my best and people know that I'm representing my brand as a person, right? And then the other part of it is you have to have media. People need to see what's going on? What's going on in your life? What are you doing? They have to find an interest. They have to find a common ground, right? So that when it comes to Instagram, like that's a big thing. If you're not accustomed to Instagram, that's okay. You have to find your social media, but basics is your bio and your head and your profile photo. Those are the biggest things that's going to set you up to then lead into that conversation. So that's the best advice I can always give, because it'll get you the at least in the door to have a conversation with somebody.
So how often are you having conversations with people, via text or via phone, and maybe that's a good question. How soon do you get them off text and onto a live conversation with you so you can actually build a relationship instead of just having this kind of superficial thing going on text?
Gotcha. Yeah. So with LinkedIn, usually I go back and forth for a bit, like maybe like 3 or 4 messages. And then I'll be like, hey, like, why don't we hop on a Zoom? I'll go on a Zoom. We'll kind of have a little bit more of a chat, and then I'll follow up afterwards. And then they're either in or they're out, and that's it, right? I'm not going to convince anybody. So that's kind of the timeline for that. But I've kind of gotten it. You kind of get the flow down once you start doing it a little bit more. You can see like, okay, this person's more receptive. This person's really not receptive. Let me not push it. So once you get into that flow, it becomes kind of automated in and of itself when you're doing it. Instagram is a little bit easier for people who are my age, because we're just so used to using it. Like, it's just like, oh, like I'll send you a message, like, and we'll talk on Instagram versus text message, right? So it varies, totally varies on your audience. I wish I could put like a number on it, but like that's kind of how it flows in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and Zoom is so much more effective than a phone call, right? Because they see your face and you get it's almost like, sitting and having a cup of coffee with them, right?
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I did a phone call with somebody about ASEA. I don't think it had to have been like 5 years ago. Yeah, probably. It's only Zoom or messaging. That's it.
Yeah. And I mean, and everybody's used to Zoom at this point, right? Because that's how people have communicated for the past couple of years, right? So it's not weird to say, hey, why don't we just jump on a quick Zoom and we'll have a quick conversation or whatever. So when you have that quick conversation with them on Zoom, are you doing a presentation, or are you just telling them a little bit about what's going on and then inviting them to look at some videos or come to a webinar, or what does that conversation look like?
Yeah, so I set myself up for success immediately, and I have a kind of like a guideline that I follow when I'm on a Zoom call. So I'll have my guideline in front of me, and I'll say I have to hit this point, this point, this point, this point, this point. As long as I hit those points in some sort of capacity, cover what the technology is, why it's important, what it's in it for them, how do they benefit from this, and what's the potential. Those are really the 4 key points that I focus on. All the details can matter, but they'll be answered in a video that I can send them, I try not to spend more than 15 minutes on a call. It's just my preference. I could do 30 minutes if they're good, if they like good conversation. I'm happy to do that because I like to conversate. But like I said, you will get the vibe from somebody when you're on a Zoom call. And you'll either get the vibe that they're like, wow, this is like interesting, or you'll get the vibe like, why am I on this call? Like, I don't want to be here. And then you'll be like, okay, no problem. Like, no pressure. I always end it with no pressure at all. I'm not here to convince you. There's literally no reason for me to convince you. I'm just here to offer the information. It's up to you to make the decision. If it's something you do want to do, then we can get up on another call, sign you up, and kind of go through the beginning steps. And that's it.
Yeah. Very cool. And now what about the objection of network marketing? Do you run into that at all? People are like, well, wait a minute, what is this? Why isn't this sold in stores? And, why is this one of those things? I mean, do you get any of that when you're talking to people?
Yeah, of course you do. I mean, it's just part of being in this type of industry, unfortunately. But I will say this, a lot of people who are my age actually don't even know what a pyramid scheme is, believe it or not, which I guess is a good thing. because they're more open to it. But being the very, what's the word? Being a New Yorker, we're very like, what is this person trying to sell me type of thing. I forgot the word that I'm trying to say.
Skeptical or?
Yeah, like skeptical, exactly, skeptical. Being the skeptic, that type of situation, it's I've come into that quite a bit. And what I say to them is, listen, if this is something that doesn't work for you and as a business, that's totally fine. Maybe this is just better for you for the product. Maybe you should just learn about the product then. Because I'm not here to convince you that this is an incredible business, because I know it is, because I'm living proof. But you have an obligation to really learn about this technology, because it could not just impact you, it could impact other people that really need it, and you could be the segue for them learning about it. Like I said, I've heard people in this industry, and it's an unfortunate thing, but I think it also just comes with more, if you get more education on how to build properly in a way. Convincing is just not my type of style, and unfortunately you get that sometimes in this industry, and it can be a little bit of a damper to the people who are trying to genuinely give their whole self into it. So, and I get it, people get excited about the product, excited about the technology, and they're just like, why can't you sign up? But you got to let people make their choices.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how many people have you, you've been in like 11 years, how many people have you personally sponsored as associates?
As associates, wow, I haven't even looked, to be honest with you.
Approximately, if you had to put a guess on it, what would you guess? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 200?
Probably 200.
200 people personally sponsored. And how many customers do you have in the mix, you think?
In the mix, well, over the 11 years, I just checked this yesterday, 860 customers.
Okay. So a lot more customers than associates, but how many of those people are still customers? I mean, you're going to have people, like any business, you're going to have people come and go as associates and also as customers. Some people stick with it and some people don't, right?
Yeah. A lot of them are retail customers who just want to try it once, and that was fine. I don't know. I'd probably say about, honestly, I can't even think of like the number, what it would be, but it's a good portion of my income. That's what I would say. Customers. And I'm so appreciative of it, because all the PV that's generated goes straight into my binary too.
Right.
So it works out well that I have this backbone, and I think a lot of people underestimate the power of customers.
Yeah. How many people convert from customers to associates? Do you have that happening a lot?
Sometimes, yeah.
Experience, they're like, I've got so many people I got to tell this about. Or maybe you say, have you ever thought about, or maybe they say, hey, my aunt needs this, or my cousin needs this. How do we get it to them? And you say, well, would you ever consider being an associate? And this could help you offset the cost of your product, right?
Yeah. Actually, that just happened yesterday to one of my customers. She called me up and she was like, hey, where can I send my site or put it on my website that I have for my business? Can I put, my link? And I was like, yeah, it should be in your virtual office. She's like, wait, I was like, wait a second. You're not an associate. You're still a customer. She's like, oh my God, I totally forgot. She's like, I want to be an associate. So, it sometimes gets to that point where people are like, wow, I want to start sharing this. And yeah, that does happen quite frequently. And I think it gets to a point where people either have a great testimonial that takes place to them, or they realize this could really benefit other people by me telling them. Yeah, and it's happened quite a bit this year, actually. I'd probably say like 10 people, 15 people so far.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good for me, at least.
So it sounds like you have a real open door kind of relationship with the people that are customers with you or associates with you. And if they need anything, you call them, or, they call you or you call them, and it's real casual and friendly, and it's not some weird relationship, right? How many conversations how much time are you spending helping the people on your team build their businesses? Are you doing a lot of work down deep in your organization?
Yeah, so I work with, people who want me to work with them. I'm working with them. I, like I said, I'm not here to pressure. I'll check in, of course, but I don't pressure anybody to do something that they are not comfortable doing or timing is not right. I had one associate who I was working with for a whole year, and then they had to take a break because life happens and that goes on. And then a couple of weeks ago, they were like, "Hey, I'm ready to commit full force. Let's do it." And I was like, "Let's do it." So you got to meet people where they're at. And like you said, I'm very just my type of personality. Everybody's different, but my type of personality is I'm go with the flow. You want to do it? Let's do it. I'm here, 100%. You want the 100%? I'm here. You want to hang out? Totally cool with me too. When you're ready, I'm here, 100%. Whenever you need me. That's just the type of person I am. But yeah, in a given week, I would say I have a couple calls that I do in a given week for different teams because people speak different languages, so I can't have everybody on one call, unfortunately. So I do several different calls in several different languages, and then I have morning calls that I do with the team in general. So yeah, so I'd say probably good 10 hours.
A week?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this grow and cash flow promotion, they're really talking about PGV3. And a lot of people have like, what is this PGV3, right? So that's the people that you sponsor and the people they sponsor and the people they sponsor. Those are the three levels directly underneath you that are counting for this promotion and also for this Ascent trip and qualifying for the Diamond Summit. I mean, that's kind of the standard that they're setting, that it's really about bringing brand new people in and helping those brand new people sponsor other people, customers and associates. And then the same thing, another level, and the same thing, another level. And then, making sure you're teaching along the way so that those people start to feel independent and then they can start to build their 3 levels and their 3 levels and their 3 levels. And of course, if you got, somebody down 20 levels, 40 levels, of course, you're going to work with them. But the promotion is really focusing on the PGV3. So, yeah, does your team, or that your team excited about this promotion? It's a global promotion. And if you look at the stats in the back office about who's, sponsored the most amount of people since the promotion began, you'll realize that they're from all over the place: Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, UK, United States, Canada, everywhere. So,
Yeah.
It's a global melting pot, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're excited, and I ended up pointing out to them about this PGV3 that compared to last year, I don't think people know, but it's 5,000 points less than last year, so it's easier to win this year. At least the Ascent trip, right? And for them, I did a whole training this morning on PGV3 just so that they can understand. Like, this not only applies to current promotions, but this also applies to your compensation plan too. This is how you get paid for your executive momentum pool when you hit executive, right? And you're consistently hitting it. And this is a figure, or a sort of number that you should start to become accustomed with. And I absolutely love the fact that ASEA focused and shifted everything to PGV3 in regards to these promotions, because you don't have success unless the people below you have success. And I find that to be the most incredible thing about this type of a business. And it goes hand in hand with the compensation plan and the promotions. And it just makes sense, right? You would want your people who you're working with and you want them to succeed. So if they succeed, guess what? You also succeed. So yeah, they're really excited. I'm excited for them because I want to see them all be there, and I know they can. It's totally attainable, especially the Ascent trip now. I mean, 5,000 points less than last year. I mean, come on, they're making it easier. Got to take, right?
That's right. Well, and just quickly on the compensation plan, because we are to the bottom of the half hour, but the cool thing about the sponsorship part of the compensation plan versus the binary part of the compensation plan is that there's unlimited width. You can sponsor as many people as associates as you want. You can bring on as many customers there's no limit to the amount of customers and associates that you can bring on. And that goes for everybody that comes in as an associate. They have no limit. And the wider people go, the stronger their business is going to be, because like you said earlier, sometimes life happens and people have to, take their eye off the ball for a while until they're, till they can concentrate on the SIA again. So it's really smart business tactics to have a broad business as opposed to a very narrow business and thinking, well, I only need 2 people, a right team and a left team, and, trying to build your business narrowly. A lot of those kind of businesses fall apart, especially when it comes to the executive momentum pool, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the foundation. The PGV3 is the foundation essentially for everything in your at least in your, your check match, your executive momentum pool, your diamond pool, basically the 3 end tail parts of things. And also when you're signing new people up for fast start. So
absolutely. So what, if there's one piece of advice that you can give the people on the line about enrolling, either customers or associates, is there one little nugget that you can give people to just kind of guide them as far as maybe getting them on maybe they'd like to see their name on the list of top enrollers? What would be your advice? Like if you really want to, win Ascent, qualify for these trips coming up, maybe earn some extra cash with this grow and cash flow promotion, what would your advice be to people who are really, they want to get in it, they want to be part of it?
I would get an accountability partner. That's the piece of advice I would give. Get an accountability partner, because the reason why I say this is you'll go farther when you have somebody who's saying, did you call this person today? Or did you go to that networking event? Because, you're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be doing 2 networking events every week. What's going on? And it's pivotal, because sometimes we don't kick ourselves to go do stuff. We need somebody else to say, what's going on? Hello. So that's what I would say. That's find somebody for us, but also find somebody that won't be afraid to be like, hey, get off your butt and go do something, it'll go a long way. It'll go a long way.
Great advice. Great advice. Well, thank you so much for sharing some of your night with us and giving us insight into who you are and how you're building your business. Really appreciate it, Marco.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it. And just so excited for this event that's coming up, as well as the promotions. So
absolutely, and you look good. I like the stash.
It's love it or hate it. Some people love it, some people hate it.
There you go. Hey, you got an opportunity to use all kinds of different looks, right?
Why not, right?
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks so much, Marco. Have a great evening. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All righty. Good night, everybody.